During late 2022 and early 2023, the Imperial War Museum hosted an exhibition named War Games, Real Conflicts, Virtual Worlds, and Extreme Entertainment. I have never been to the exhibition myself, but according to their own marketing material, it featured blockbuster games including Call of Duty and Sniper Elite, while also incorporating indie titles such as The War of Mine and Bury Me My Love. The goal of the exhibition is allegedly to interrogate the tension that exists between the thrill and tragedy of warfare in a game and its repercussions in the real world. I'm sure the exhibition was a great one, as most of the reviews were pretty positive. As a gamer, I understand where that feeling came from. It feels cathartic to be recognized by traditional institutions, which has long been demonizing the gaming community, especially violent video games. I went to the Museum of Modern Art at roughly the same time frame, and I was very touched by the exhibition of modern gaming and their recognition of video games as a valid form of art. Though this could be a topic for another time. While games are often demonized in the real world, often linking with a heightened rate of violence and generating more societal instability, even when much research has shown no evidence of this being the case, gamification, the process of which incorporates game-like elements such as leaderboards and positive reinforcement with goals, has long been used as a strategy of war in the course of history. From ancient Rome, where killing in Colosseum was linked to hypermasculinity and glory, to US actively promotes itself for using realistic war simulators to train soldiers and prepare for the real battlefield, the idea of war being a game has helped countless individuals rationalize their actions on the battlefield. Sounds odd, right? Especially if you think about more than a second, what kind of rationalization are games providing? In other words, what do people feel normalized across the process of games? The more positive answer to this, of course, is that it helps individuals deal with the stress of the battlefield and accelerates the learning process while providing immediate feedback to individuals. In fact, proponents of the usage of gamification in war training would come up with various scenarios in which gamified training would be super useful. For example, learning first aid in stressful situations, especially for medics, and learning local language to communicate with the locals to provide help. But wait, how many of the individuals receive the training are medics or are tasked with communicating with the locals? And at the same time, this is also not aligned with what kind of games the government has developed over the years, most of which seem to be either action games or first-person shooter games. From the Ukrainian war video, check if you haven't, I have talked a little bit about how the act of war is often the active result of society creating a sense of others as a method of building identity. This is perhaps more important in the context of wartime soldiers. For soldiers, their identity is often built upon the contention between peace and war, with one often framed as they ought to strive to achieve and the other fulfilling the desire for which they are useful and needed. To resolve inner tension, the frame of others is more needed than ever. If war is not perpetuated by us as a collective, then the act of war is inevitable, and as a soldier, you're needed by the public to protect themselves. In the meantime, peace can simultaneously be the end goal if the others are to blame for the creation of war. Nonetheless, historically, it is rather hard to always frame opposing soldiers as others. Intuitively, people are likely going to be traumatized by seeing individuals of opposing soldiers and innocent civilians die in front of you, regardless of their characteristics, backgrounds, or identity. Also, you're sharing the same identity of soldier with the opposing soldiers, which means that you're more likely going to sympathize with their situation in the first place. Even when people get more disassociated with the situation of the war over time, they're also likely to become more disassociated with individuals who are their companions as they shut down their emotions, making them a potential risk factor to the asset owner, the government. Here is where modern video games come in. However realistic games may be, they are at the end of the day, games. It is easy to put down your controller and forget whatever happened in front of your very own eyes as you subconsciously deem it to be fictional. The individuals you have killed with your very own hand are anything but a mere hologram of data with no objective reality attached to it. In the meantime, the narrative of games portrayed also often makes you feel a stronger sense of being the main character in your story. You are the good guy, and the ideological opponent of yours are the bad guys who are trying to harm and manipulate the public that you swore to protect, and they are not doing the exactly same as you. Individuals learn from their past experiences. The goal of realistic war games is not to make individuals treat games as war, but to treat war as games. As war games become more realistic, the real battlefield more feels like game. It is harder for brain to cognize the fact that you're killing a living human who have their own life, emotions, and connections to the real world, especially if you're looking at a drone who have the same interface that you see in a game, and you have already done the same action countless times before. In a way, through incorporating video games, it is possible to dehumanize the opponents in a war to a completely new level. Sure, historically you may see your opponent as people who are evil. You may see your opponents as subhuman, deserve less rights than you. You may even see them as non-human entities that were controlled by supernatural. However, it is perhaps for the first time that individuals can rationalize and normalize the idea that the opponents are not even sentient creatures. They are merely a hologram of computer data, and that was it. Nothing they do ever matters. Nothing they feel ever matters, because none of what they feel are real to you. The consequences of war gamification are obviously dire. If individuals who participate in war do not even realize they are killing people, there is going to be way less internal accountability in terms of the horrid actions that an army can perform. Moreover, if killing people can stop feels like killing a creature, it is not hard to imagine individuals also being more inclined to do other actions. For example, dropping bombs may just feel like looking at the death count goes up instead of needing to comprehend the impact of it on human and environment both. Nonetheless, the goal of the video is not to participate in fear-mongering. There are some hopes of it. As an art form, many war games currently on the market do reflect the harms of war. One great example is the Metal Gear series, where the game reflects on the trauma that the war causes and what it means to protect peace while preserving your identity as a soldier. In the meantime, the increasing awareness of recent news regarding the real horrors of war in Gaza and Ukraine may also pull individuals back to the reality of what war is like. What the war zone looks like, most of us probably would never know, or at least I hope so. But individually, the most important thing here is probably keep reminding yourself that you live in a reality, and take time to sort through your feelings to prevent yourself from being desensitized to the pain and suffering of others. Protest the war if you can, and remember to hold individuals who glorify war accountable. People are more than holograms. They have a life, they have families, they have emotions, they laugh, they cry, they want to protect others just like me and you. But most importantly, they deserve to be more than holograms. They deserve to be remembered. They deserve rights as well, even if they're on the battlefield.